Hello, I'm Steve from CyberGuffPunk, and this is my Let's Play of the Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines standalone mod, Vampire the Masquerade War Games. And this is a mod that takes place during 1943 in World War II, of course, during World War II, Europe. And it is a pretty amazing mod. I was surprised how big it was. And it does have some bugs and glitches, and the voice acting in a lot of it is not as great. Some of it is very much like text-to-speech, but there is some voice acting here, and some of it's decent. Some of it's okay, but the fact that it's even there at all, I appreciate. And I really liked how the creators of this mod actually used a lot of the the Bloodlines assets, as well as some of their own, to create 1940s Europe during this time. So let's start a new game. And they really did change a lot. They really actually changed a lot of the models here. Like, it's pretty cool how they did that. So this is a pretty nice skin they probably used. And they really literally made so many unique skins for these characters, for each of the clans. It's really cool. That's really nice. It's not many for clan yet. This one's a really nice one. Very nice. Now some of this clothing isn't quite 1940s, but some of it is definitely 1940s. Because some of it is actually casual gear that is real, but they were doing the best that they could with the model outlines of Bloodlines. Now, one of the reasons I consider this mod pretty amazing is Bloodlines 1 is really notoriously quite hard to actually mod. It is very difficult. It takes a lot of effort. Now, there have definitely been quite a lot of mods for Bloodlines 1, but the problem is, you may have noticed, because it's so hard to mod, there are a ton of standalone mods, really big mods in the same way. There's always something that just adds to the base game. But this one is a completely its own story, its own areas. And it's really quite big. It's really nice. It has a lot of side quests, and I'm going to show you this. Now, I'm going to play as a Venture, who's a brawler, and also a very big talker, and has a lot of dominance. I'm going to call her Beth. After my first character for the game. I have played the game twice. Once as a Ventrue, and a second time as a Toreador. And it was very fun to do either. We need a nice lot of persuade and also some scholarship because there are skill books in this mod. And they're very nice. And I'm going to use Dominate because Dominate's really useful here. Especially since I'm going melee. I'm going to put this into Wits, and the reason I'm putting this into Wits, there's this new system which is, instead of computer, we got cipher, and decryption instead of hacking. So there are some little telegraphs, I would say, or terminal things, but they're basically little telegraphs that we have to decrypt, messages we get to decrypt in this mod, which is pretty neat. And it's actually quite useful. It's a really useful skill. I definitely, if you play this mod yourself, I definitely recommend investing in decryption. Is really helpful. It not only gives you access in certain side quests, it is kind of important to have in the main quest. So it's kind of important to have. You don't necessarily... Now, there is a skill book that you can get right in the first area of the game. So you don't have to pay the 2 dots here, but it's the later dots and the wits you have to do. Now, you don't have to pay as much if you have aspects, especially when you invest in aspects. So I would say, if you're planning to play this mod, I do recommend you actually investing in firearms, because it will make your life easier. And and if you have aspects, if you have an aspect, you know, client who has an aspect like a Toroid or Malkavian, you could probably invest in that if you wanted to. If you wanted to play as a firearm character, I just found that I did have a much easier time to get through a lot of certain areas when I played as a firearm character compared to my first time. But I had a lot of fun in my first time too. It's not impossible at all, no, especially not with Dominate. Dominate really makes everything easier. But I do recommend Cypher. I also recommend actually having a firearm character because you're going to get into perception. And inspection is really going to help you find things that are actually quite hard to see in the game. Like, there are some hidden items, and there are some items that, because this mod does actually use the map of certain areas you've already been through in Bloodlines 1, some of the items that you know where they are in the same place. And I'm going to show you that when we get to the mod, so. Sorry. And also there is a point in the game where having an inspection skill, having a high enough inspection skill, can allow you to actually participate in a quest, or have a high enough aspect, which we will get to that. It'll be later on. But and also if you invest in aspects or protein, it can really help you see in dark places, because that's another problem this mod has. It has a lot of dark hallways. It could be quite dark and it can be quite hard to see. You won't really see it too much in this early part, but you will see it as we go on. So let's continue on. So and Wits is going to be really helpful for me in my combat defense. When I get my defense high enough, bullets or hits are just going to brush off me sometimes. And it's going to be even more helpful when I get my Fortitude. So let's start the game. I'm going to be quiet for the intro. That was quite the intro, wasn't it? And we've woken up in this room. I wonder, this is the man who bit us. I wonder who he is.
Good, you're awake. Please, sit down.
Where am I?
Please stay calm. I will explain everything. Have a seat.
Alright, but please tell me what's going on.
Now then, as to where you are, this is my home. I carried you here last Saturday.
Saturday? But that means I've been out for 3 days.
Precisely. Tell me, how do you feel?
Well, now you mention it, I feel strange. I'm not quite sure what it is.
How fast is your pulse?
Let me see.
Yes?
Is this some kind of joke?
I assure you it isn't.
Oh dear lord, am I dead?
Thankfully no, at least not in the traditional sense.
What have you done to me?
I will begin by apologizing. I've chosen to do this only out of the direst need, I assure you. You have become, in the clearest way I can explain it, a vampire.
Like some kind of Nosferatu?
Not quite, though the Nosferatu are also very real. You and I are more akin to something out of the pages of Stoker.
So, what are the details?
Some of what you may know is true. Very little isn't, as a matter of fact.
I'm listening.
The rules are simple. To survive, you must drink blood. You are no longer capable of sustaining yourself with mortal foods. In exchange for this, you have been gifted several unique abilities, the most prominent of which is eternal life.
Looks like this is the best part.
Just as in the Nosferatu movie, sunlight is invariably fatal to you. Rushing water, garlic, silver, and items of religious importance will do you little harm. Neither are you by any means compelled to sword minuscule objects. A stake can paralyze you if it pierces your heart. You have more reason to fear firearms than you do a crucifix.
I see.
But among all others, our chief weakness is the beast.
The beast.
The beast is the demon of every vampire in existence. It grants us our abilities, and at the same time is the most dangerous risk we face in our lives. It is a wellspring of animalistic fury, hidden in the back of your mind. And if you are properly provoked, it can take control of you for its own ends.
Looks like a primal instinct.
Regaining control once you frenzy is difficult, but entirely possible. The easiest way to retain control is to keep a tight hold on your humanity, or to hold fast to a purpose of some kind.
All of this is incredible.
There are many of us, all over this earth. There are many different factions among our people, living silently in the shadows of the skyscrapers being built by humans, and many different clans among us, each with their own unique familial legacies. Know this. The word for ourselves is kindred. I am your sire, and you are my child. We have a word for what you once were as well. Kine.
Kine?
Yes, did you not feed on cattle in your life? We have adopted the term. It is most fitting.
These clans you speak of, can you go into more detail?
There are believed to be 13 kindred lineages, all descended from the biblical Cain. 7 side with the Camarilla. These are the Ventru, Toreador, Gangrel, Malkavians, Nosferatu, Tremere, and Bruja. 2 clans form the backbone of the Sabbat, the Shemisi and the Lusombra. The rest are independent, the Giovanni, Ravnos, Assamites, and the followers of Set.
So what are the factions?
There are many factions among kindred, but the 2 most powerful are the Camarilla and the Sabbat. I count myself among the Camarilla's ranks, as should you now.
Camarilla, understood.
You may be wondering how our kind have remained undiscovered since the dawn of man. This is due to careful preservation of secrecy, laws instituted by a governing body of kindred who keep our secret safe from mortals. That is the Camarilla. We exist everywhere, and we have eyes on everything. For every drifter telling a story of a monster wandering the highway, or a sewer worker who sees something he shouldn't, there are news reporters and widely respected skeptics to debunk these stories as hoaxes. These may be kindred, though more often they are ghouls in our employ. In any case, this so-called masquerade, the great lie we use to shield ourselves from mortals, is preserved.
What is a ghoul?
A ghoul is a mortal who is drunk of vitae, the blood of a kindred. This is different from the embrace. It does not turn them into a vampire, but it does gift them temporary immortality, increased strength, and limited disciplines for as long as they continue to drink of the blood. In exchange for these abilities, they are blood-bound to their regent, the vampire who holds the bond.
What is a blood bond?
The vitae of kindred has several unique qualities. If anything drinks it, be they mortal, animal, or kindred themselves, they will be blood-bound, emotionally chained to their regent. If it is drunk twice, then the bond is strengthened. The most powerful blood bonds come from those who drink 3 times from the same kindred. rendering them hopelessly devoted.
That sounds horrible. To take away someone else's free will is just wrong.
Quite. Which is why you'll most likely be unhappy to know that all childer are one step bloodbound to their sire from the embrace.
What?
Do not worry about it. If it is any concern, a weak blood bond typically wears off in about a year.
Tell me about the Sabbat.
They are the opposing side to this war. Both wars, in fact.
Why do we care about human war?
The Sabbat have been the sworn enemy of the Camarilla for over a millennium. They care nothing for the Masquerade and freely unleash violence and mass carnage wherever they tread.
So what did these people have to do with why it was embraced?
4 years ago, the Second Great War began, and it pulled all nations and people into it. Not even kindred were unaffected by something on this scale.
I know it. I'm an agent. Okay. Sides were quickly chosen. The Camarilla had sided with the Allies, and the Sabbat support the Axis. As you know, the Allied nations are the United States, United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and China. The Axis is composed of Germany, Spain, Japan, and Italy. What happened then?
This world war has been raging for 4 years now, but 2 months ago, something changed. The Camarilla received word that the Allies have unlocked the possibility of a new kind of weapon, one that could theoretically end the war instantly. The United States are endeavoring to create this under the title Project Manhattan.
You're kidding.
However, we recently discovered the Allies are not the only ones to think of this. 5 days ago, an agent of ours discovered certain documents pertaining to a similar project that Germany is working on, titled Project Uranium. I don't think I need to explain what might happen if they finish this before we're ready.
Impossible. We believe the Sabbat are supporting them in this endeavor. There is a German Lassamber in charge of the project, who we have only identified as Nishaya. We do not have any kindred readily available in the area, which is why I have made the decision to embrace you. We need you to act as an agent of the Camarilla in this affair. You must discover the whereabouts of this Project Uranium and about this plutonian child before it can begin its hellish birth. I cannot go into Axis territory. My face is known by the Sabbat. And where am I supposed to begin?
Excellent. You are to leave for the town of Portsmouth tomorrow evening. We have a spy stationed in the area who will help you get in contact with the resistance in Paris. It seems they have some leads on the possible location of Project Uranium. For tonight, however, I will prepare you for your future existence by sating your curiosity and teaching you to use your abilities.
All right.
Tell me, are you hungry?
I don't suppose you have a bite to eat.
Unfortunately not. You are incapable of deriving sustenance from mortal food and drink now. Blood is the only thing you will crave from here on.
What happens if I try?
Vomiting is induced.
Oh.
Come, I will show you how to hunt. In a few days you can depart.
Okay. Okay, that was a lot of... That was a nice lot of info. Very helpful. Use a good tutorial.
Good evening, my child. I came here to wish you luck. I have paid a room for you in the Portsmouth Hotel. You have a reservation under the name Morna. In the drawer of your room you will find some items that you'll probably need and info on how to contact our female spy there.
Thanks, sire. As I said, I won't disappoint you.
It's time to leave. Hurry up. The train is about to depart. We will stay in touch.
Bye. Yeah, unfortunately we got the first instance of the text-to-speech voice acting. Oops. Yeah, it could be a bit off-putting, but I kind of would rather not there be any text-to-speech voice acting. Either actual voice acting or not. Anyway, I shall leave this first episode here, and I'll be right back.